We've had a little bit of time to digest the news of MTG's resignation, Aaron. Any more clarity on why she's resigning now and not filling the rest of her term out?
I think the seeds of this have been planted over the past few months. Inclination from her. She's taken some positions that have really broken from Trump in a surprising way.
You're not going to believe what just happened on Capitol Hill. We're talking about over 120 members of Congress coming together and basically telling Donald Trump to resign. Not impeach, resign. Just step down and walk away. And this isn't about some random scandal or another media circus. This is about the Epstein files. And apparently, according to these Congress members, Trump's administration has been actively covering up his connections to Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking deleted documents, threatened judges, a full-blown obstruction of justice situation that's making Watergate look like a parking ticket. And get this, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG herself, one of Trump's most loyal defenders, she quit Congress back in December, just walked away. Why? Because she was pushing for the release of the Epstein files and Trump told her to back off. Can you believe this? The woman who defended Trump through everything. 2 impeachments, January 6th, classified documents, hide. She drew the line at covering up Epstein connections. That's how bad this is. So now we've got this resolution, House Resolution 939, that was introduced on December 10th. It accuses Trump of tyranny, threatening federal judges, obstructing the Epstein investigation, and it's not just Democrats pushing this. We're talking about a bipartisan revolt. Republicans are jumping ship because they see the 2026 midterms coming, and they know what happens to unpopular presidents during midterms. Spoiler alert, their party gets crushed. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built John Brown Show, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe, because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. All right, let's get into what actually happened. House Resolution 939 was filed on December 10th, and it's not your typical political grandstanding. It lays out specific charges against Trump: abuse of power, obstruction of justice, threatening federal judges who were handling Epstein-related cases, actively working to delete documents that showed his connections to Jeffrey Epstein. This isn't vague stuff. This is detailed, documented allegations with sources and timelines. Now here's what most people are missing. This resolution doesn't call for impeachment, it calls for resignation. And that's a huge distinction. Impeachment is a long, drawn-out process that requires a trial in the Senate and a 2/3 vote to convict. Basically impossible with the current makeup of Congress. But resignation, that's just asking someone to step down voluntarily. And when 120 plus members of Congress are asking for that, it sends a very different message. It's saying we don't have the votes to remove you legally, but we're publicly stating you've lost our confidence and you should just leave. Share this video with everyone you know, because this brings us to Pam Bondi, Trump's Attorney General. She's at the center of this entire scandal because her Justice Department allegedly deleted files related to Trump and Epstein. We're not talking about minor documents here. We're talking about evidence that could potentially show Trump's involvement or knowledge of Epstein's activities. And according to multiple reports, when career DOJ officials tried to preserve these files, they were either transferred, fired, or told to back off. This is where it gets really dark, because if these allegations are true, we're talking about a sitting president using the Department of Justice to cover up potential crimes. That's textbook obstruction. That's exactly what got Nixon in trouble during Watergate. And the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, quit Congress over this tells you how serious it is. Now let me bring the receipts on Greene. This woman has been Trump's attack dog for years. She's defended him when almost nobody else would. She pushed conspiracy theories. She fought for him during both impeachments. She stood by him after January 6th. But in November, she started demanding that Trump release all the Epstein files. She wanted full transparency. She was tweeting about it, talking about it in interviews, saying the American people deserve to know the truth. And Trump told her no, not just no. He apparently went after her behind the scenes, threatened to primary her, made it clear that if she kept pushing on this, she was done. So she quit. She resigned from Congress in late November. saying she couldn't in good conscience stay silent while evidence was being destroyed. That's a bombshell. That's Trump's most loyal ally walking away because even she couldn't stomach the cover-up. Think about what that means. If you've lost Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the most hardcore Trump supporters in the entire Congress, you've lost the plot completely. Greene's resignation sent shockwaves through the Republican Party because it showed even Trump's most loyal defenders were reaching their breaking point. If MTG could walk away from Trump, anyone could. Notice why Trump would go to such lengths to hide these files. What's in them that's so damaging? We don't know exactly because the files have been deleted or hidden, but we do know that Trump and Epstein were friends for years. There are photos. There are quotes from Trump praising Epstein. There are flight logs showing Trump on Epstein's plane. None of that is new information, but what might be new is specific evidence of Trump's knowledge of Epstein's activities. Or worse, evidence of Trump participating in or enabling those activities. And look, I'm not saying Trump is guilty of anything criminal related to Epstein. I don't have that evidence, but what I am saying is that his behavior, the cover-up, the threats, the deleted files, that's not the behavior of an innocent person. Innocent people don't destroy evidence. Innocent people don't threaten judges. Innocent people release the files and say, see, there's nothing here. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown Show because now we've got this massive congressional revolt happening. And it's not just Democrats. Republican members are breaking ranks because they can see the writing on the wall. History is pretty clear about what happens during midterm elections. The president's party almost always loses seats. And when the president is unpopular, like Trump is right now with a 36% approval rating, those losses are devastating. Look at what happened in 2018, Trump's first midterm. Republicans lost 40 House seats and control of the chamber. Or go back to 2010 when Obama was dealing with backlash over the Affordable Care Act. Democrats lost 63 House seats. Or 2006 when Bush was deep into the Iraq war mess. Republicans lost 31 seats and both chambers of Congress. This is a pattern, and Republican members of Congress know this pattern. They know that if they stick with Trump through this Epstein scandal, they're going to get obliterated in 2026. Share this with everyone because Speaker Mike Johnson's warning about a third impeachment isn't coming out of nowhere. He's looking at the polls, he's looking at history, and he's seeing a scenario where Democrats take back the House with a big enough majority to impeach Trump again. And if that happens, the Senate might actually be in play too. If Democrats pick up enough seats in the Senate, they could potentially have the votes to convict. That would make Trump the first president in history to actually be removed from office through impeachment. Now, Trump's response to all of this has been exactly what you'd expect. He's on Truth Social calling everyone rhinos. He's saying this is all a deep state plot. He's claiming the Epstein files are fake news and that he barely knew the guy, which is hilarious because there are like 2 decades of photos and quotes proving otherwise. But here's the thing. Trump's base is starting to fracture. For years, Trump's superpower has been his ability to control the Republican Party through sheer force of personality and the loyalty of his base. But when you lose someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when you have 120 members of Congress publicly calling for your resignation, when your approval rating is in the mid-30s, that power starts to evaporate. And once it starts, it's hard to stop. Notice what Republicans in competitive districts are doing. They're already distancing themselves from Trump. They're not showing up to his rallies. They're not defending him on cable news. They're quietly telling donors and voters that they're focused on their own races and not on defending the president. That's politician speak for, I'm trying to save my own career and this guy is toxic. And the timing couldn't be worse for Trump. We're less than 2 years away from the 2026 midterms. Every House seat is up for grabs. A third of the Senate is up for re-election. And if Republicans lose control of Congress, Trump becomes a lame duck president with no legislative power and multiple investigations closing in on him. He'd basically be powerless for the last 2 years of his presidency. Make sure you stay subscribed because the Epstein angle makes this even more toxic. It's not a partisan issue. Democrats hate Trump and have been trying to take him down for years. But the Epstein stuff, that crosses party lines. Nobody wants to be seen as defending someone who might have been involved with a child sex trafficker. It's political poison. And that's why you're seeing Republicans break ranks. They'd rather take the heat from Trump supporters than take the heat from voters who think they're covering up for a potential criminal. Now let's talk about Republican self-preservation. Politicians care about 2 things above everything else: power, and keeping their jobs. Right now, Republican members of Congress are looking at Trump's 36% approval rating. They're looking at the historical pattern of midterm losses, they're looking at the Epstein scandal, and they're doing the math. And the math says that if they stick with Trump, they're going to lose their seats in 2026. Think about it from their perspective. You're a Republican in a competitive district. Maybe you won by 5 points last time. Now you've got Trump dragging you down with his Epstein cover-up drama. His approval rating is in the toilet, and history says you're already fighting an uphill battle because midterms always hurt the president's party. What do? You distance yourself. You vote for resolutions calling for his resignation. You skip his rallies. You focus on local issues and hope voters forget you ever supported him. Share this video because this is exactly what happened to Nixon in 1974. Republicans stuck with him through Watergate for a while. But once it became clear he was going to drag them all down, they turned on him fast. They told him to resign because they knew if he didn't, they'd lose everything in the midterms. And he did resign, and Republicans still got crushed in the 1974 elections, but it would have been even worse if Nixon had stayed. The Epstein angle changes everything. This isn't a partisan scandal. This isn't about policy disagreements or political strategy. This is about potential involvement with a child sex trafficker. That's not something you can spin or explain away. That's not something voters are going to forgive or forget. And the fact that Trump is actively covering it up makes it worse. If he had just released the files and said, look, I knew Epstein years ago, but I had no idea what he was doing. Here's all the evidence showing I wasn't involved. This would be a one-day story. But instead, he's deleting documents, threatening judges, going after his own allies like MTG who are asking for transparency. That's suspicious as hell. And voters notice that kind of stuff. Notice why even Republicans are breaking ranks. They can't defend this. If they try to defend Trump on the Epstein cover-up, they're going to get absolutely destroyed in their next election. Democratic opponents will run ads saying, Congressman Smith voted to protect Trump's Epstein connections. That's a career-ending ad. So Republicans are jumping ship now before it's too late. This sets up a potential constitutional crisis. Mike Johnson's warning about a third impeachment isn't just political theater, it's a real possibility. If Democrats win back the House in 2026, which history suggests is likely, they will impeach Trump again, no question. And if they pick up enough Senate seats, they might actually have the votes to convict him this time. Now here's where it gets really interesting. If Trump is actually removed from office through impeachment, what happens next? J.D. Vance becomes president, but Trump's base is going to lose their minds. They're going to claim it's a coup. They're going to protest. And Trump himself is going to be on Truth Social 24/7, saying the election was rigged and calling for resistance. We could be looking at a January 6th type situation, but way worse. And even if Democrats don't get the votes to convict in the Senate, just having Trump impeached a third time would be historically unprecedented. It would cement his legacy as the most scandal-plagued president in American history. It would make him completely radioactive politically. No Republican would want to be associated with him going forward. The bottom line is this. Trump explodes as Congress demands step down with over 120 members calling for resignation over Epstein files cover-up. Not impeachment, resignation. Step down voluntarily. House Resolution 939 filed December 10th. Specific charges: abuse of power, obstruction of justice, threatening federal judges handling Epstein cases, deleting documents showing connections to Jeffrey Epstein, detailed documented allegations. Resolution calls for resignation, not impeachment. Huge distinction. Impeachment requires Senate trial 2/3 vote. Basically, impossible current makeup. Resignation voluntary. 120 plus members asking sends message. Lost our confidence, should leave. Pam Bondi, Attorney General, Center of Scandal. Justice Department allegedly deleted files Trump and Epstein. Evidence showing involvement, knowledge of activities. Career DOJ officials tried preserve. Transferred, fired, told back off. Sitting president using DOJ cover-up crimes. Textbook obstruction, what got Nixon. MTG quitting shows seriousness. Green Trump's attack dog ears. Defended when nobody else would. Pushed conspiracy theories. Fought both impeachments, stood by January 6th. November started demanding release all Epstein files. Full transparency, tweeting, interviews. American people deserve truth. Trump said no. went after behind scenes, threatened primary, made clear, kept pushing done, so quit, resigned late November, couldn't good conscience stay silent, evidence destroyed, bombshell. Most loyal ally walking away couldn't stomach cover-up. Lost MTG, lost plot, sent shockwaves. Most loyal defenders breaking point. If MTG walk away, anyone could. Trump Epstein friends years, photos, quotes praising, flight logs on plane, not new, but might be new specific evidence knowledge activities. Worse, participating enabling, not saying guilty anything criminal, don't have evidence, but behavior cover-up threats deleted files, not innocent person. Innocent don't destroy evidence, don't threaten judges. Release files say nothing here. Massive congressional revolt, not just Democrats. Republicans breaking ranks. See writing wall. History clear midterms. President's party loses seats. Unpopular like Trump. 36% approval. Losses devastating. 2018 first midterm Republicans lost 40 House seats control. 2010 Obama Affordable Care Act Democrats lost 63 House seats. 2006 Bush-Iraq Republicans lost 31 seats both chambers. Pattern. Republican members know. Stick with Trump Epstein scandal obliterated 2026. Johnson warning third impeachment not nowhere. Looking polls. Looking history. Seeing Democrats take House big majority impeach again. Senate might play. Pick up enough seats votes convict. First president removed through impeachment. Trump response exactly expect. Truth social calling rhinos. Deep state plot. Epstein files fake news barely new. Hilarious 2 decades photos quotes proving. Base starting fracture. Superpower control party through personality loyalty base. Lose MTG 120 calling approval mid-30s power evaporates. Once starts hard stop. Republicans competitive districts distancing. Not showing rallies. Not defending cable news. Quietly telling donors voters focused own races not defending president. Politicians speak saving career toxic. Timing couldn't worse. Less than 2 years 2026. Every House seat up. Third Senate up. Republicans lose control. Lame duck, no legislative power investigations closing. Powerless last 2 years. Epstein angle more toxic. Not partisan. Democrats hate tried takedown, but Epstein crosses party lines. Nobody wants seen defending might involved child sex trafficker. Political poison. Why Republicans breaking. Rather heat Trump supporters than voters covering potential criminal. Republican self-preservation. Politicians care power keeping jobs. Looking 36% approval. Historical midterm losses. Epstein scandal. Doing math. Stick lose seats 2026. Republican competitive district won 5 points. Trump dragging down cover-up drama. Approval toilet. History fighting uphill. Midterms hurt president's party. Distance yourself. Vote resolutions, resignation, skip rallies. Focus local issues, hope voters forget supported. Exactly Nixon 1974. Republicans stuck Watergate. Clear drag all down, turned fast. Told resign, knew didn't lose everything. Did resign. Still crushed 1974. Would been worse stayed. Epstein changes everything. Not partisan, not policy disagreement strategy, potential involvement child sex trafficker. Can't spin explain. Voters won't forgive, forget. Actively covering makes worse. Just released files said new years, no idea, doing evidence not involved one-day story. Instead, deleting documents, threatening judges, going after allies, MTG, asking transparency. Suspicious, voters notice, Republicans can't defend, try defend Epstein cover-up destroyed next election. Democratic opponents ads, congressman voted protect Trump Epstein connections, career-ending ad jumping ship before late, constitutional crisis, Johnson warning third impeachment not theater, real possibility, Democrats win House 2026 history, suggests likely impeach again. No question. Pick up Senate seats votes convict this time. Really interesting. Actually removed what happens. Vance becomes president. Trump base lose minds. Claim coup. Protest. Trump Truth Social 24/7 election rigged calling resistance. January 6th, type worse. Even if don't votes convict Senate having impeached third time historically unprecedented. Cement legacy most scandal-plagued president history. Completely radioactive politically. No Republican want associated going forward. This story continues. Stay tuned.